Mother speaks.
I am Great Mother, Holy Spirit, Yin, Divine Mother, Cosmic Womb, Deep Space, the Moon, Dark Matter, the Void, the Black Hole, Hathor, Isis, Diana, Mami, Ishtar, Kali, Mammy, and Mother.
Hi everybody, welcome to your Libra full moon readings. These are Great Mother Speaks readings. Great Mother Speaks welcomes you to this platform, a language of signs and symbols to assist those of us who are seeking to connect with the mother of all mothers as a result of mama drama trauma. It is my area of specialization. My name is Tammy Taylor. I'm an inner work life coach. This is inner work, emotional, intuitive language that we use for these readings. And Great Mothers Speak is a language that is based on that emotional sign and symbology. Particularly here, we're talking about your Vedic moon sign. We work through the moon yogas here. We work with lunar-based astrology because Great Mother is lunar energy. She is the moon, the yin energy, the feminine archetypes within us. The sun is Great Father energy, and your Vedic sun sign will represent the soul. Great Mother communicates. She is the transmitter of information, of that frequency signal between the soul and the ego. That is the ascendant sign. So you want to be sure that you check the link below and get your Vedic moon sign. If you're working from your Western moon sign, you can, but the readings won't make as much sense since Western astrology is an earth-centric, egocentric astrology. It is based on a very definite perception of this lifetime, whereas the Vedic astrology is going to transcend many lifetimes and many more ways on deeper and deeper levels than the Western astrology. And that's what we have to do to really understand and heal mama drama trauma, which is a soul contract between two souls who love each other enough to support one another in the mutual evolution of self-love and spiritual independence. Mama drama trauma is a planetary disorder. It is at this time before we enter the Aquarian age that we are learning how to love ourselves. That is in fact how we deliver ourselves from the cycle, from the disorder, the pathology of mama drama trauma, which is perpetuated through shame, blame, and guilt. We saw that the Notre Dame, our mother, our Mother Mary, Our Lady, the physical edifice will no longer suffice going into our future selves as a proxy for us being connected with and understanding our inner selves, which is the true essence of who we are, which is the true method of connecting with our highest selves, which made this contract with our mothers. And so it is imperative that when we are healing mama trauma, we understand that we are undaunted as souls who have made this decision to evolve and learn these lessons through the mechanism of mama drama trauma. It doesn't make it less painful. It doesn't make it less difficult to do the work. But what it does do, it enables that process of growth, because self-love is not something that we voluntarily learn as souls. We have to be coerced into it because it is an illusion. We are loved. So we have to, in order to evolve in self-love, be refined through the illusion of not experiencing love. And so the soul that loves us deeply enough to what we experience to be a violation of our humanity exchanges this illusion, creates this illusion with us to refine that inner sense of knowing we are loved, of knowing we are a part of the Great Mother Father God. Now, of course, the concept of Great Mother Father God in Vedic astrology is through Varuna. And Varuna separated the higher self, the soul self, from the lower self, and actually thrusting the universes into existence. And his architect of the cosmos, Shrati Karma, I believe that's how you pronounce it, had a daughter, Chitra, who is the nakshatra or the lunar constellation of this full moon, Chitra. Chitra married Surya, the sun, the soul of the cosmos, and discovered that his light outshone hers. And so she represents the gem, the pearl, the beauty of the cosmos. And her father, Shami Karma, made sure that Krishna Karma, let me get that right. Anyway, he diluted Surna's brightness in order for her to shine. And that is what this full moon energy is about. The sign and symbology of this full moon has to do with the Libra energy from 23.2 degrees to the Virgo energy from 23.4 degrees to the Libra energy at 6.4 degrees. So it's early degrees of Libra, which is why this full moon is in Libra in both the Western and the Vedic astrology this time, giving us the double message that this is the second full moon in Libra in the Western astrology, the ego astrology, that it is time to begin our planetary and our individual soul work to balance this disorder on the planet. Now, the Great Mother Speaks Oracle deck is what we'll be using as we always do, but I'm going to share with you as just your significator card, not the whole deck, that has been revised. As you know, that this deck is based on the 49 scenes of the Wizard of Oz. And Dorothy is the poster child for Mama Drama Trauma. She was an orphan. She was neglected emotionally and ran away from home in order to learn how to love herself. And along that journey, she saw the mirrors of herself through the Tin Man, the Scarecrow, and the Lion, and went to Great Father Oz by the direction of Great Mother Glinda the Good Witch in order to find her way home. And that is what we are doing. Each new moon and full moon, we're finding our way home, finding our way back to the truth of our divinity, emerging from the illusion of Mama Drama Trauma, regardless of how real the sensory experience makes it feel. Now, this full moon ushers in a transit season that cannot be defined as anything but a karmic transit. Jupiter has already gone retrograde in the South Node and K2. Saturn is about to go retrograde at the end of this month, but after, of course, Pluto on the 26th, the 29th Saturn. We don't really pay a lot of attention to the outer planets in Vedic astrology in general as a rule. But it is important to look at what's going on with the outer planets when we're looking at the collective consciousness, or what I call the collective unconscious. So the collective unconscious is beginning to go through a very deep karmic cycle. And those of us who are consciously doing our healing work, we're also going through this karmic cycle that begins this month until about September, October. This cycle is going to really test whether or not we are serious about balancing our sense of self. And what is that balancing? That balancing is releasing that conditioning of shame, blame, and guilt in our daily interactions, first and foremost with ourself, our self-talk, and then therefore how we interact with others. Are we feeling repetitively that shame, blame, and that guilt? I just see that church burning, and Catholics will be the first to tell you that the religion is based on guilt. And so we're beginning to see the fall of this illusion that we're not good enough, that we are not divine. And so that's the balance. It is bringing up the self-awareness of our divinity, which is what I'm constantly repeating, what Great Mother has given me to share, is that we are dearly loved children of the Great Mother, Father God, who are never judged, condemned, or left alone. We always have our angels, our guides, and our ancestors, just as Chitra had her father, even though she had been married to the glorious sun. Everything that glitters is not gold. And Chitra represents that as well. It is a beautiful light that shines specifically, and even when the sky is the cloudiest, you can still see Chitra. It's ruled by Mars, and so there is this great gut chakra energy and this fire. And I'm wearing this today as a representative of it because I am Chitra, my Jupiter is in Chitra, I should say, and it's retrograde. So I understand these deeper transits and these deeper cycles because of this work that I do. And I'm happy for the 2 and the 3 of you that I talk to each new and full moon, because I've come to understand that that's another characteristic of Chitra, is it's not popular. It's not a popular sign. It's not a popular nakshatra. Each sign in Vedic astrology has about 2.5 nakshatras, which are lunar based constellations. And it speaks clearly from the beauty of the cosmos, whether it's popular or not. And that's more important to it than being popular, because it's already bright. It has enough support. It doesn't need the physical, the numbers, the subscribers for it. Doesn't need that. It already has enough support, unless it is in a situation that it is being told you are not enough, you are not good enough. And although that was not my mother's intention, that is exactly what she did with this child that was very forthright in her expression and wise beyond her years. And it was embarrassing at some points, for her because I didn't care whether or not I was popular. And it's not a angry attitude thing. This energy of this full moon that I'm sharing with you is an energy that is, get it or quit it. It's like, just be who you are, assert how you feel, live how you need to live, or suffer the consequences. And this Libra kind of Virgo Libra juxtaposition of this nakshatra says that it's already gone through the highest form of refinement and the latter degrees of Virgo, as we know. So we say 23.4 Virgo to 6.4 of Libra. The latter degrees of any sign is when it's come to its full maturation. And what is the full maturation of Virgo energy? It is the self-healer. It is the one who is able to keep account of details in order to be of the greatest service, of the greatest good of others and to itself first and foremost. It is about not overlooking the details that improve and constantly improve the healing ability and the serviceability. And being ruled by Mars, it is determined to do that and combative in doing that if necessary. But with the earlier degrees of Libra, suggests that there is enough of an intention to connect with others to make it feasible, to make it useful. And that's what you want to glean from this full moon reading, is how is this information going to be useful for me during this transit, during this Jupiter retrograde, which basically, if you are a life coach or you are an astrologer watching this, you are a teacher of some form, you are a mother and you're doing your healing work, and you find that your challenges as of late have been more in terms of how you are setting an example, then the Jupiter retrograde is about, over the next few months until August, listening to what Great Mother is saying to you through signs and symbols. And this is what your readings are about, the signs and symbols of the lunar phases of your chakras for your moon sign, your yogas. What's coming through from that internal space to align you to balance that MDT, shame, blame, and guilt, with the divinity, being and feeling and experiencing that love from divinity. Feeling that non-judgmental sense of innocence and being loved. Feeling like your angels and your guides are surrounding you, and more releasing that. What is Jupiter telling you needs to be shared with others through your experience of learning, through your experience of balancing and shining your light of MDT healing. For those of you who have come here for the first time or are just beginning to be aware, even acknowledge, admit, accept your MDT, you're probably at a point where you're realizing that the denial, the minimizing the MDT, the ignoring, the abandonment and abuse, the repetitive abandonment and abuse is beginning to present to you opportunities to define more healthy boundaries and those type of toxic environments that perpetuate that shame, blame, and guilt for you. And you are wanting this transit with Jupiter retrograde to download to you what it is that you need to do to balance. How do you need to define boundaries? Show me. Show me. If I'm constantly experiencing someone walking in on me and disrespecting my space, and I do need solitude from time to time to connect with Great Mother, show me how to do that, and I will follow. Obedience is very important, especially with Jupiter, in order for us to receive more. Jupiter is very abundant, and we will receive many times whether we realize it or not. But what's the use of having $100,000 in the bank if you don't know that you have it? So that's why the inner communication piece, the inner work piece is so important, is that you know that you get $100,000 in the account. And you have something useful, again, at your access, something beautiful to enhance your beauty. With the Saturn retrograde that we're going to be greeted with at the end of this month, and that will be active for your new moon reading in Aries in the Vedic, you want to ask yourself as a teacher or as the sharer of MDT healing information, Saturn, I know that you are the cosmic Lord. I know that you are the karmic Lord, rather, and you are keeping a clock on my incarnation at the time that I have here to do what I'm here to do, which first and foremost is to heal my MDT. But I need to know from you karmically what it is I truly need to stop doing, let go of, restrict in my life, or completely let go in order for me to better balance my ability to teach, to share, and to shine my light. I need it to be made very, very clear to me. Show me the consequences of not doing my inner work. Show me the consequences. We're not ever judged or condemned, but there will always be consequences for actions. And karma, literally in Sanskrit, means actions. Okay, and so all of our actions accumulate over lifetimes. And this experience of MDT is all about getting in touch with that karma, owning it as a strong soul, and hearing from the Holy Spirit, Great Mother, the downloads that we need in order to balance and in order to heal it. Now, those of us who are really, again, in that space of releasing denial of MDT, and we're coming to realize we do need to work on healing this MDT through the guidance of Great Mother, connecting with the Mother of all mothers. You really want to have Saturn help you be aware of the consequences that you are already suffering, and have those be made very clear to you so that you can say, yes, this is about shame, blame, and guilt. I am ashamed to even discipline my child because I know the way I was disciplined and it made me feel horrible. And so I don't know what to do. And therefore I'm blamed as a mother as not being a good mother. And now I feel really guilty because I know I'm not. I see this cycle before me happening. It takes many people a long time to get to that place. But this is what I want you to do. I want you, when you go to that Vedic calculator, it's going to show your whole chart, and I would love to go over that with you. We can do a class on the website. I have the MDT support group, and we do all kind of topics there, and we could do one day just bring your chart and we'll just go over certain things. You know, just go there and sign up and put in the notes what you would like to talk about, or even hear what you'd like to talk about in those free groups. And they're very small, just like the group of people that watch the videos, 2, 3 people, 4 people, and we just kind of go over these things so you can understand that as you recognize these patterns, they have less power over you. This is what this is all about. This is what this Libra full moon in Chitra Nakshatra is all about. It's all about shining the light and not being afraid to say, hey, this MDT light is shining way too bright, this soul contract right now. And so let me just recognize that I need to address this, and get some help and balancing these scales out. Because I know you got a light and this is soul contract and I agreed to do this, but I know that I'm also here to evolve through the experience. So let me get on that part. Let me get some shine for that, for the work that I'm doing. And you'll find that once that foundation is in place with your Vedic astrology, what's going on with the outer planets, like this Neptune square the South Node and this Pluto that's going retrograde on the 26th, you will see how on a collective unconscious level, the changes that are going on within you, you will be able to see the effects in the outer world with more clarity and not have to experience so much yourself personally, because you're disciplined in the process of being observant of your healing. You don't have to, for example, always feel guilty for being a bad mom. You can begin to work on owning the role that you've played in perpetuating MDT out of ignorance and stopping the cycle little by little by little, saying, well, hey, I know in the past I haven't said anything when you've spoken this way, but this reminds me of when I was young, how I was spoken to, and it didn't make me feel very nice, and I apologize for having spoken to you that way. I would like us both to work on speaking to each other in a more kind way. And I'm going to make mistakes and you're going to make mistakes, but let's help and remind each other as lovingly as we can, okay? The next time I do something, the next time, that's what we talk about in our group, and that's what we work on, and that's what we report our successes on, and that's where we share our challenges in. So I want you all to feel comfortable in coming to me. I don't know whether or not this website scares you when you look at it or what, but I see the traction and the visitation, people visit, but you're scared to sign up for the free night thing. I don't know that the time doesn't work for you or whatever. Let me know, because that's what I'm here for. That's what I do. Okay, so we have that. Let us go ahead and get started with your readings. Now remember, your significator card in the middle of your reading is going to be from the new Great Mother Speaks Oracle deck, which doesn't have any of the pictures from the Wizard of Oz, but of course is based on that. There'll be a new deck coming out, and the guidebook is going to be great and very colorful. I'm very excited because I have gotten feedback about the deck, and people have it, and it's been a collaborative process, and I know that this is a very, very blessed healing tool for us. So let's go ahead and get started. Hi Pisces moon sign people. For those of you who don't know, your moon yogas are Aquarius, Pisces, and Aries. How you download intuitive information is in a very Aquarian manner. You receive your intuition from your soul in a way that feels like it needs to be shared with other people, and so thus emotionally you experience your intuition as healing. You love to be in that intuitive space, and you love to share that space with others. You process this emotional experience in a very Martian way, very direct. You want to ground it in the world. You want to take action on what you have downloaded and you have experienced, whether it's something that is healing for you or hurting in some cases. So with Mama Drama Trauma, we want to be particularly mindful of that as we talk about the perpetuation of it through shame that this has been caused perhaps by us, and there's the blame that we can't cure it, even though we try, and as a result there's this guilt that we can't control it. So we want to be aware of that, because if we are downloading our intuitive information in a way that we really want to share it with other people, we can have a tendency to really perpetuate that cycle in very passively aggressive ways that we don't mean to, because our intention really is to heal. But if it's not balanced with divinity identity, which is realizing, yes, I've had this emotional experience, but I've processed it through Aries in a way that is letting me know that I didn't cause it. There's no way I can cure it. I'm sick myself, and therefore I can't control it. I need help. And that's hard for Pisces moon signs sometimes. And so Great Mother has a special place in her heart for you oftentimes, Pisces moon sign people. So we want to be aware of that. Now, your significator card is Akhenaten. This full moon, what has come to fruition since your new moon reading, your new moon was in your second house of values and your wealth, your spiritual wealth. Now it is in your 8th house. This Libra full moon in Chitra is saying the Akhenaten energy, the law of mystery and free order, is the inner work your soul wants to do as this full moon light in Chitra is blazing up the sky. Now, this beauty that you have at this particular time is all about being in a space of accepting the fact that you don't know why you have MDT. You don't know why your mother has it. You don't know any of that. And you're being in a place that you're finding peace with it. Or what's coming forward with these retrogrades in your 10th house, your 10th lunar house, is that you need to be in a place of peace about it. 10th house intuitively and emotionally is all about dharma, all about your life purpose. And so with Mama Drama Trauma, the soul contract has the purpose of evolving the soul in self-love and spiritual independence. So if you're not in that place of embracing the law of mystery and divine order, this third quarter moon yang symbol is letting you know that there's a big charge to release that in your 10th house, which is where K2 is, the house of release, the house of past lives, with Jupiter and Saturn conjunct retrograde by the end of this lunar cycle, which is really being kicked off with this full moon and activated by the Jesus card, another third quarter moon card. The Jesus card is a yin third quarter moon card. Of course, Akhenaten is the yang card. This is about receiving help, Pisces. Accepting the guidance, accepting the guardianship of your angels, your guides, and your ancestors to be there for you, to assist you through this process of accepting the mystery of Mama Drama Trauma. Allowing them to help you to heal yourself before you heal others. That's how you want to process it, is by acting. And so that's why your soul wants to do the inner work of kind of reflecting, okay, and letting go of that need to act so abruptly and so quickly without acknowledging the law of mystery and what divine order. The mystery is Mama Drama Trauma. The divine order is balancing that, again, Libra, full moon, with the realization that we are divine children of the Great Mother, Father, God, who chose this contract, chose this law of MDT to evolve in self-love and spiritual independence, and incarnated to do that through the physical experience of Mama Drama Trauma. So even though it feels real, and for you, what feels real can really dictate a lot for you, we want to realize that before acting on those feelings, that trusting you have the birthright to guidance, to mercy, grace, the leeway that you need to be a productive healer, first and foremost for yourself, that you are worthy for that. That's very important. And so the Jesus card is showing up to remind you of that, Pisces moon sign people, because in your shadow position is this divine expression that you have to want to heal. And being confused about, okay, what's first? I heal mama or I heal myself? Well, it's always self first. And that may be a lot of talking to you, especially with that Aquarian, which wants to share, which wants to serve, ruled by Saturn in the Vedic, okay? And it's kind of confusing. Clarity here. Great Mother provides clarity, balance, and confirmation. The clarity here is in knowing in your shadow position, there's a rebirth from that. There's a rebirth that is happening with you and these aspects that says that your life purpose is now about being clear that you need to accept the grace, mercy, the guidance, and protection first. You need to accept that you did not cause, you cannot cure, you cannot control MDT. That there is therefore no place for shame, blame, or guilt. It just is. It is a mystery that has a divine order to it. And that's in your shadow position. This transit, if you don't realize it now, is going to show you between now and April that your divine expression, which is to heal people, is being hampered by the confusion that first and foremost, it's recognizing the healing that you need to do. Now, some of you, this is in your shadow position because you are already undergoing this rebirthing process. You have been doing your mama drama trauma healing work and you are being reborn, and you may not realize it. But if you just sit back for a second and think about your life over the last 2-3 weeks, there's some rebirthing going on. And as a result, you're ready to embrace your shadow. You're ready to say, hey, I know that I may have a tendency to prioritize others over myself, or what they think, or what they like, or what they say my purpose should be, what kind of healer I should be. But I'm looking at that. I'm paying attention to that. I'm reflecting on that. Third eye. Third eye is ruled by Cancer. Cancer is ruled by the moon. Cancer is the north node in the Western astrology right now. And so when we're looking at Western astrology, we're looking at the ego. And so when we're out of balance, there's a lot of ego energy. And so you're going towards this self-mothering, many of you. And many of you are doing that by embracing your shadow. Some of you are really needing to completely start from scratch, because this moon is in your 8th lunar house after all, which is the house of death and rebirth. And so many of you, this means that you're completely starting from scratch with regard to your whole setup and how you have been aware of how you've been treating yourself and how you choose to treat yourself going forward. Some of you have been very self-abandoning, not listening to yourself, listening to your needs, listening to the healing work that you need to do. Some of you, it may be as simple as you need to have a cup of chamomile tea before you go to sleep. Have some tea and do it so you can go to the bathroom a good 2 hours before you go to bed. Have the tea. It's discipline. I'm getting disciplined. There's a discipline that you're not wanting to do to take care of yourself that you've already gotten over and over again. Some of you, that's what's coming through as rebirth and a secret that you kind of keep to yourself, speaking of 8th house energy. Some of you, there may be some sexual abuse. There may be some really unsavory relationships that you're having that make you, that the energy is toxic and it carries over into other parts of your life. And you know that intuitively, but there's some type of desire that this full moon is bringing up for you that is making you want to connect with people in that way, when in actuality, the true desire is to connect with yourself in that way. And that's what often happens with sexual addictions, is that we're wanting to do the spiritual connection, but what we're really needing to do to be healthy and whole is the interconnective work. So that's what I specialize in, is inner work life coaching. So this is not a judgment. We all do that. Now, Ra is what's supporting you. And Ra is the father of the Egyptian pantheon. So you have the ancient mythology of the sun god. Sun in Vedic astrology is the soul. You have your soul, your inner eye, this connection that says, okay, I see that I'm creating a new life going forward. I may be scrapping everything, but I'm being rewarded for this. It's not like I'm not getting anything from my trouble. You know, I may be sexually addicted, but by letting this relationship go, or the way that we converse in this particular dynamic, boy, I sure do have a lot more energy to contribute to being more disciplined to my self-care. That's why I didn't have the energy or feel good enough about myself. It was because I was carrying all that toxicity around. You see how everything connects? And that's why we're going into talking about the moon yoga, because everything connects. And so I wanted to do that because we can say things all the time, but until, again, we experience them, we don't know them for ourselves. Your present status of ego soul alignment, Pisces moon sign people, is the Newt card. Now, Newt is the orphan card. Even though you are receiving rewards, or you will be receiving rewards by the next full moon, this is waxing gibbous. So coming up to the next full moon, you have another month there with that. By the Scorpio full moon, speaking of sex and secrets and 8th house energy. So we have some weeks here for some of you. Presently, you still feel, and this is new moon root chakra. So root chakra rules your download. Presently, you still feel in many ways that alienation, you know, that estrangement from yourself. You feel, let's see, the new moon was in your first house in Pisces. And so that's understandable, because the new moon is your lunar new year. And so things are new. And so it makes sense that you are scrapping everything, because you're realizing there's so many things that you can't take forward to support your life purpose at this time. This is all part of regrounding. Regrounding ourselves is a process, and that's why we have the root chakra there, which rules your download yoga of Aquarius. Why your soul wants to do this work is because it is ready to create the life that it wants. And there is a realization that in order to create a life beyond MDT, there has to be a sense of self greater than the sense of the collective. There has to be a sense of, in other words, a self-assertion, a self-identity that supersedes what other people think of you. That's more important than what people think of you. That's the Eshel card, self-creation, fertility. It is the moon card. It is the card that has to do with rainbows and all of the chakras working. This is second chakra, waxing gibbous, and this has to do with Jupiter energy. Jupiter rules your moon sign. And so this waxing gibbous, refining, editing yourself, editing that whole tendency, Pisces moon sign people, to put people in front of you, is making you feel alone. It's making you feel like an orphan. It's making you feel like, okay, so what am I going to do as a result of this rebirth, as a result of this download, this balsamic energy that's coming to me to divinely express myself? But your soul is wanting to recreate this life, and it's just a mystery to you right now of how that's going to all work out. But there is a divine order to it, which is why your soul wants to enjoy itself. Might as well enjoy yourself. We don't know how anything's going to turn out, you know, and continuing to try to control, to try to cure, to try to own that you are the cause of the MDT, that it's your fault. To stay stuck in that as some type of badge of virtue is not how your soul wants to do this, Pisces moon sign people. It wants the pleasure principle. It wants to have a new moon experience, not as an orphan. It wants to have this new moon experience in revisiting and revising and getting these guru downloads from Jupiter, which, by the way, is in your second house right now. Jupiter is in your, 10th house too, with this Dharma, and this new identity, first house is Pisces. Mercury and Venus is in your first house, ruled by Jupiter. So we have Pisces really in this kind of sextile that is being completely supported. You're being completely supported with this rebirth process. So that's why you can embrace the pleasure principle. And that's what the soul wants to do. It wants you to, in other words, follow your bliss. Focus on what you need. Focus on what you want. Honor it. Go for it. Do it. Be it. Have it. And know that all will continue to come to you. And it's a mystery how. You're not going to know how. You're not going to immediately intuit all of those things, but you are going to be rewarded. This is an awesome reading. Your final outcome with this, Pisces moon sign people, is Brigade. And Brigade is the full moon third chakra card of selfhood. You will express yourself. You're going to break through this. This is your time to break through it. Whether you do it now or whether you do it during the, this is Mercury, throat chakra, rules Gemini and Virgo. So we have already had our Gemini full moon back in November. And then we had our Virgo full moon last month. So this is saying that if not now, within the year, if not now, within the year, you are going to, with this new moon that you just planted, your lunar new year, the Pisces new moon, it's going to take a year. It's going to take a year for you to really practice this new seed from that new moon, ruled by Jupiter, second chakra, for you to really practice enjoying yourself, having faith, creating the life that you want, trusting in the law of mystery and divine order and the soul guidance, trusting your rebirth process, embracing the shadows of MDT in order for you to really, really deal with, am I an orphan or am I respecting myself and having enough dignity to choose the energy that I allow in my space, so that your true authentic identity, your selfhood, your divinity as a dearly loved child of the great Mother, Father, God, who's never judged, condemned, or left alone, shines through. Thank you so much for watching, sharing, and liking. But above all and most of all, remember, Great Mother loves you, and I do too.
I am Great Mother, Holy Spirit, Yin, Divine Mother, Cosmic Womb, Deep Space, the Moon, Dark Matter, the Void, the Black Hole, Hathor, Isis, Diana, Mami Ishtar, Kali, Nami, and Mother Mary.